Welcome back to our channel, and today the topic is about plaster. So plaster works. So what is plaster, or what is plastering, or what is plaster works? Plaster works, this is an activity carried in building construction, and it is a finishing activity. So what do I mean by a finishing activity? So we have got those activities that are called finishing activities. Those are activities that are done when you are completing your project, such that to make sure your project or your building is habitable. So plaster works is done when you have done your block work, when you have done your masonry. So when you have done your masonry, remember that when you are doing your masonry, the masons were achieving the verticalness of the blockwork, that is using a tool called a plumbo. So also again, your plaster works, it is required to be vertically accurate, or it is also required to be plumb accurate. So plaster is actually done so that you get an even surface of your wall. An even surface of the wall, I mean that a wall that is smooth, a wall that is straight, a wall that doesn't have bumps, or it doesn't have holes. A wall that is actually vertically and horizontally accurate, vertically and horizontally straight, vertically and horizontally straight. That is what we mean by getting an even surface of plaster. So plaster, for you to achieve an accurate plaster, or for you to achieve a straight plaster that is both vertically and horizontally, there are things that you can do. You can introduce, before you start your plaster works, remember that you want to achieve vertical straightness and also horizontal straightness of the wall of the plaster. So for you to achieve this, there are some things that you can do, and one of the things that you can do is by doing wall leveling. So how do you do wall leveling in a layman's language? In a layman's language, for you to do a wall leveling, you can do points. You can introduce points, that is using the cement sand mortar. So using the cement sand mortar, you can do points, that is on the wall. You can do points on the wall. You can do 3 points on the wall, that is, you do 1 point at the top, another point at the middle, and the last point at the bottom. So remember these points that you will do on the wall using the cement sand mortar. These points will be equivalent to the thickness of the plaster that is required. For example, if you have been told that the thickness of the plaster required is supposed to be 20 millimeter thick, then those points that you will put on the wall for you to get the vertical straightness of the wall and the horizontal straightness of the wall. So for those points will also be 20 millimeter thick, 20 millimeter thick, such that when you come to apply your plaster, it will be also 20 millimeter thick. So your first point on the top, it will be 20 millimeter thick. Your middle point also the same thickness, and the last point also 20 millimeter thick, such that now when you use your plumb bob, or your spirit level to get the vertical straightness of the wall, those points should align together. Those points should get you a straight point. If you are using a spirit level, those 3 points, the bubble of the spirit level should settle at the center. Then you'll know that those points are straight vertically. If you are using a plumb bob, then from the top to the bottom, when your plumb bob tool settles at the bottom as it is required, then you'll know that those 3 points that you have put on the wall to levelize the wall is vertically accurate. So that is how we do the wall leveling, and also you can repeat, that is the far left, at the center, and the far corner. So for you to achieve both the vertical straightness and the horizontal straightness. So that is how we do it. Now, there is something called a ratio of the ratio of the mortar. So for you to get the mortar, that is to do the plaster, you need to have a ratio. So for example, today we are going to use a ratio of 1:3. So a ratio of 1:3, it means that one quantity of cement will be equivalent to 3 quantities of sand. So for example, if you are using 1 bag of cement, the quantity of sand required will be 3 bags of sand required. So that is what we mean by a ratio of 1:3. So for example, I'm going to show you for us how we are doing it here on our site. We are using weight, that is to get our ratio. So we have done a box here, and this box is equivalent to 50 kgs. This block we carried out the weight of this box when it is filled with sand, and the weight that we achieved is 50 kgs. So remember that our bag of cement is 50 kgs, and remember that our ratio is 1:3. So it will mean that 1 bag of cement will have to be mixed with 3 equivalent weight of sand. So if we are having 150 kg of cement, then it means we will also have 350 kgs of sand, which means we will have 150 kgs of sand to 50 kg of cement. So that is what we mean by a ratio of 1:3. So if you have been given that should be your mixing ratio of the mortar for the plaster works, that is how you achieve your ratio of 1:3. It can be a ratio of 1:4. It can be a ratio of 1:6. So that was just an example of how you get to your ratio. So and remember, before you carry out your plaster, because remember I have said that plaster is a process, or it is an activity that it is done to make sure that you achieve an even wall level. You achieve even wall, the wall to be even. When I say the wall to be even, I mean the wall to be both vertically and horizontally straight, the wall not to have bumps, the wall to be smooth. So that is what I mean by your wall to be even. And remember, for you to get that even wall, that is by doing the plaster, there are some things that you have to remember to put in mind. Like for example, the sand that you will be using to do to get the mortar, that sand should be free from matters. It should be free from bigger particles. It should be free from unwanted particles. So that sand should be actually a fine sand. It should be fine sand. So if your sand is fine, then you are guaranteed that you are going to get an even wall plaster. So that is one thing to remember. The sand should be sieved. The sand should be sieved on site to make sure that you have a fine sand to do your plaster works. And then again, for you to achieve the even wall, for you to achieve the even wall, or for you to achieve a smooth wall, what you normally do is that after you have applied your mortar on the wall, when you are doing the plaster works, what you normally do as a mason, you do the smoothening of the wall, or you make the wall to be even. That is by you can use a wood float, you can use a steel float, or even nowadays the technology has changed. There is a machine that you can use that is to make the surface even, So that is what we mean by plaster works. It is an activity classified as a finishing activity, that is a building construction, and it is done after you have done your block work. That is to make sure that your wall is even, you do the plaster. And I have said plaster is done using cement sand mortar, and it has ratios. You can be given a ratio of 1:3, 1:6, 1:4. It depends with the requirements. And I've shown you how to get the mixing ratio. If it is 1:3, then you'll have to take 1 bag of cement to 3 bags of sand. That is if you are doing by kgs, which means 150 bags of cement should be equivalent to 350 bags of sand, which will be 150 kgs of sand. If you are using the ratio of 1:6, for example, again, if you are using 1 bag of cement, which is 50 kgs, you should use 650 kgs of sand. So that is what we mean by the ratio. So again, when we are doing the plaster, remember I've said for us to achieve the verticalness of the wall, the plumpness of the wall, there is a tool that we use called a plumb bob. So from your 3 points that you had done on the wall, that is to make sure the wall is leveled. So the first point you will put your plumb bob, that is from the first point going downwards to the down point, and make sure that your plumb bob settles as required. Then you will know that that wall of yours is actually straight, or it is actually plumb as required. And for you to check your horizontal level of the wall, again, you can still use the same method, but now you will have to take, for the horizontalness, you will have to take a straight take a straight bar, whereby the first point, the middle point, and the last point, when you are doing the leveling of the wall, they should be the same when you put that bar to those points. So when you will have applied your plaster, when you remove, when you will have applied your plaster again, using the same bar, you will have to come and put, that is horizontally, and then if you look at it, you make sure that there is no space that is between the wall and that bar. Then you'll know that your wall is also horizontally leveled. So that is how we carry out the plaster works, and that is what is the meaning of plaster. I've said the plaster, it is a cladding done on the masonry walling, that is to make the surface, to make your wall surface even, to make your wall surface smooth, to make your wall surface both vertically and horizontally leveled. So thank you, and please continue subscribing for more construction basic knowledge.